All right, class, welcome back. This week we're going to be discussing Chapter 7, the core police functions. Some of the things we're going to be talking about are the 5 missions. Basically, it's the 5 mission statements of the police. We're going to describe the different types of patrol, some of the methods of patrol, peacekeeping and order maintenance, and then we're going to end up with our discussion discussing a little bit about investigations. But first, let's talk about the mission of the police. Well, the number one mission of the police is to enforce and support the law. The number 2 is to investigate crimes and apprehend offenders. 3 is to prevent crimes. 4 is to help ensure domestic peace and tranquility. And 5 is to provide the local communities, states, and the nation as a whole with needed enforcement services. Now, the first mission, of course, when you talk about the police, is relatively simple. We all know that police are supposed to enforce and support the law. A lot of times, a lot of people, especially when I was on traffic issuing tickets, a lot of people would say, well, don't you have something better to do, like go catch criminals and this? Well, that is an important phase, but the police have more roles than just one to play. We enforce the laws. We not only enforce the laws, but we help people. We have traffic control. We have investigations. We have different types of programs that we have to put on. We have a lot of paperwork. So one job is not any more important than the other. They're all important when you combine them together. The second is to investigate and apprehend offenders. Of course, our job on any type of major crime scene, once we arrive, is to start investigating and trying to figure out what happened so we can determine if we need to call detectives or some other group. Most of the time, we're going to be calling detectives or narcotics. The next is to prevent crime. Well, by us showing up in uniform at different times, basically helps us prevent crimes. Just our presence can often prevent crimes from happening. And the next is to help ensure domestic peace and tranquility. Most of the slogans for police departments is to protect and serve. And one of ours is to help ensure domestic peace here in the United States, while our military helps protect us overseas. We also are here to help protect us locally. And then number 5, we are to provide local communities, states, and the nation as a whole with needed law enforcement related services. Again, we don't just play one minor role in our different types of missions. We don't just write tickets. We don't just arrest people. We have all kinds of different types of roles. And with since 9/11, our roles have changed. We have also become anti-terrorist, or excuse me, we've become trying to become more being able to identify terrorist groups, which is something that we were not trained for before 9/11. And now our roles have changed from local to having to think worldwide. So we're not only having to look at local things that are going on, but worldwide. The next thing we're going to talk about is the types of patrol. And first off, you have preventative patrol. And preventative patrol refers to the practice of canvassing neighborhoods in an effort to discourage people from committing a crime. A lot of times, this is obtained through some of the things we're going to get into as far as the different methods of patrol, such as foot patrol, automobile patrol. Foot patrol, of course, is the oldest and longest running type of patrol. We actually started out on foot patrol. Well, I say we. The police departments of the early and the late and early 1900s started out on foot patrol because automobiles had not been invented yet. Next, we have directed patrols, which is similar to some of our specialty units. Our specialty units usually go out to places where there's high crime, either with drug activity, speeding, burglaries, whatever, and we try to saturate that area. Those are known as directed patrols, and the police officers are dispatched more heavily to these types of neighborhoods, trying to combat that particular crime that is taking place. The next thing we're going to talk about is the different types of methods. One we've already talked about is foot patrols. The next we're going to talk about is automobiles. Of course, most of the time when you think of patrol, you think of somebody riding around in a patrol car, riding around in the neighborhood. That is one different type of patrol, but foot patrols, like I said, is the oldest method of patrol, and is still very effective today. Another form of patrol is bicycle patrol. We actually have several different agencies throughout the state who have bicycle patrol. They are assigned to special details such as parades, certain types of escorts, community events, and they can also be very helpful in high crime areas. These guys can travel a large area in a fast amount of time as compared to foot patrol, and they're not as noticeable. Another thing we have is mounted patrol, of course, is horseback. I know of one agency locally in my area, which is Oxford. Oxford has a mounted patrol for handling crowd control on the square on Friday and Saturday nights or after football games. We also have air patrol. Air patrol is mostly consistent with helicopters, but you do have some agencies who have planes, things of that nature. Then you have water patrol, and water patrols are usually around large lakes, around the oceans, rivers, things of that nature. Canine assisted patrols, just about every department now has canines. They help in enforcing drug activity. They are also trained, certain ones are cross-trained to detect bombs and other threats to the public safety. One of my favorites is motor patrol. Motor officers going out, issuing tickets, working accidents, doing escorts. That was actually absolutely my favorite part of working at the police department, was being on motors. And then sometimes you have special terrain vehicles, ATVs. I know these are used a lot in a lot of rural areas, parks, beaches, because they can access these particular areas a whole lot easier than by foot, bicycle, anything like that. So ATV patrols are very popular in certain areas. Now, we want to talk a little bit about response. There are several different types of responses when it comes to police work. A lot of people think that we turn on our lights and sirens to every call we go to. Well, we don't. Certain things we will go code. That's what we call going to a call with lights and sirens. We'll go code to like a bank robbery, burglary in progress, a shooting, stabbing, major crimes that is time essential. We'll go as fast as we possibly can without jeopardizing the public safety. Other types of responses is just a standard response, which we call non-code. That would be like if someone needs an escort, or if they need a report on their mailbox being bashed in, or someone has already broken into their home and nobody's there. These types of calls will get there as quickly as possible, but still obeying different types of traffic laws without turning on our lights and sirens. And then we have the traffic function. Of course, many people, many different departments have traffic. Um, like I already told you, one of my favorite things that I ever done was traffic. We would do safety checkpoints. Um, we would do different types of enforcement when we had complaints in different types of neighborhoods of speeding, running the red light, stop signs, things of that nature. Um, we also enforce DUIs. So there's a lot of different roles when it comes to traffic. It's not just writing tickets, um, setting up radar, things of that nature. We have a large area of things that we have to encompass when it comes to the traffic function. Then we want to talk about peacekeeping and order maintenance. Well, of course, our number one goal is to keep the peace. Um, One of the things that we really do not look forward to but have to do it is when we have protest or when we have a large set of people that is going to be in one place, such as a concert or a large football game. That's a lot of people that we have to try to control within a small area. And we really, if something were to really majorly happen and everybody decided to start fighting, we wouldn't have enough people to handle it. That's where we try to maintain as much of a presence as we can and really depend on the public's help, because we have a lot of great people out there. And, you know, like it always says, one apple usually ruins the bunch. Well, that's not necessarily true. We have a lot of great people who would report something going on, and then we would go and try to take care of that particular problem. And that's peacekeeping and trying to maintain order in these particular types of events. Nowadays, we have what we refer to as quality of life offenses. Back in the day, when I first started, we called these petty crimes, such as graffiti, loud noises, abandoned property, vandalism, things of that nature. These are now referred to as quality of life offenses or quality of life issues. That is the new term. You'll hear a lot of mayors and different dignitaries talking about the quality of life. Well, that's kind of what they're talking to. The quality of life in a particular area or city is what makes that city great. If they have good quality of life, then the city's going to hustle and bustle. It's just going to be great. And that's what we're trying to maintain, is good quality of life. We don't want to we try not to fall into what we refer to as the broken windows model. The broken windows model is based on the notion that physical decay in a community, such as litter or abandoned buildings, can breed disorder and can lead to crime by signaling that laws are not being enforced in that area. I know in the city of Tupelo, we have areas where the city has went in and bought certain types of property to tear down buildings that were like this. Usually if you see something that, you know, like an old building with broken windows, you're going to have vagrants. You're going to have people who like to go in and squat in these particular areas to live. And we just don't want that. We want our neighborhoods to be vibrant and to be livable. So we try to eliminate the possibility of any type of broken windows in those type of particular areas. The next thing we want to talk about is investigations. And everybody thinks, oh, I want to go and do investigations. That's what I want to do. I want to be a detective, or I want to go undercover. That's what we refer to as our glamour jobs. And Hollywood has really represented the detectives or the investigations in a glamorous light, but that's not what it all is when it comes right down to it. Investigations is a lot of long hours, hard work, a lot of boredom sometimes. being away from your family. Investigations is a lot of hard work when it basically comes down to it. Um, a lot of times we won't have any leads on any type of particular crime, and we depend on the public's help. And that's what kind of gets an investigation actually going, is getting a tip from the public. Um, but as a police officer, as soon as you arrive at a scene, you're actually starting the investigation. Everything has to be based, every investigation has to be based on the officer's initial report. That's where everything starts. So investigations is not just for detectives, but it's also for you as the principal officer on the scene. And then undercover work. Undercover work is very dangerous. You basically have to change your identity. You have to go in as an unknown, and then you have to build trust, and that's hard to do. When I first started out my career, I started out in a little bit of undercover work, and as a greenhorn, as we call them, I didn't know anything. I was young and dumb, as we say, and it took a lot of mistakes on my part to be able to survive in certain situations. I'm just thankful that I did. But undercover work is, again, not the glorified life that you see on TV. It's a lot of long hours. It's not for a family person. It's one of those things that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort on your part to actually play the role. So undercover work, I mean, there are needs for it, but it takes specific people to be able to do that. Then also in our book, it talks about the use of drones. Drones are something that's relatively new. I know that there's been a lot of talk and speculation about rules and regulations. Now you have to go through the FAA to be able to fly a drone. So I want you to be thinking kind of on the process of, should law enforcement be able to use drones? We've used aircraft, so why could we not use drones? Um, and then can these drones be used effectively to catch criminals? So that's just some of the things that I want you to kind of think about this week. All right. Thank you for your time, and I appreciate it. Have a good day.